What up, though? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Lawrence Report. And on tonight's broadcast, we're discussing episode 6 of BMF. And let me just say this right here, y'all. BMF, we are in the second half of this season right here. This thing just keeps on getting better, better, and better. Every episode has been absolutely incredible. There's been no fall off episode, in my personal opinion. BMF, y'all. BMF. My God. That man Meech got to go to St. Louis. Terry got to worry about a child is about being born. Dr. Maurice is in Lucile and Charles' home delivering a baby. Nicole is worried about taking birth control pills. As a matter of fact, she started popping them back like it's bubble gum. BMF, y'all. But let's get right to it, y'all. We are still dealing with the aftermath of everything that happened at Techwood and all these little kids dying. It's just a sad, sad situation, right? And we're at all of these funeral services. You know, we see Meech, his partner, passed away. We see little Kevin, passed away. We see little Milton, passed away. And we can't forget about Officer Kobe. She ended up passing away as well. So, you know, while all these funerals are going on, we do see Meech. You know, he's at little Milton's funeral, right? And we see Remy and Clyde there, right? And Meech comes up to Remy saying, you know, it's sad that, you know, all these kids are dying, paraphrasing here, right? And, you know, Remy's like, yo, you got some balls to come to show your face right now. And Meech's like, listen, I'm just here to pay my respect. But we know that Meech has other plans, especially when it comes to Clyde, right? And also we see Officer Brian. He is there at his son's Kevin funeral. He ends up, you know, putting one of the comic books that he was drawing onto where Kevin was being laid down to rest, and that was just heartbreaking to see. And also adjacent at the funeral, you know, over there to the left side of the screen, we end up seeing Meech, right? I mean Terry, my bad. Terry is there. He's laying his partner to rest. And Officer Brian walks over there. He's like, listen, you know, my son shouldn't be in this graveyard. It should be you. He ends up pushing Terry, right? And oh my God, that was crazy in itself. And Terry's like, yo, show some respect. So Brian is fuming, and rightfully so, with him losing his son. He feels like it's BMF fault, but at the same time, I kind of want Brian to take some responsibility himself for the loss of his son, but we'll see if he ever does own up to the fact that, you know, a lot of it had to do with him. The one thing that, you know, I love about Meech, this brother right here, when he say he's 2 steps ahead of the game, he literally is 2 steps ahead of the game. You know, he realizes that, you know, when it comes to Claude and Remy, you know, their sibling rivalry type relationship, you know, it's kind of in the air, right? He even compares it to a Thor comic book when it comes to Loki and Thor. You know, they're both gods, but one is king and one is the ultimate god, right? So he's talking with Duffy. He's like, listen, my goal, you know, I plant this seed to Claude saying that, listen, I kind of need your help. He is going, basically what Meech plans on doing is basically using Claude to get to Remy, and they're going to set it up to where the Techwood boys are on Meech's side, right? But at the same time, the ultimate goal is to take out the MKs, because Meech knows that this current crew that he's with is not enough. They need reinforcements, right? So while they're at this family dinner, you know, he even tells Tina, you know, I think they're eating spaghetti. He tells Tina that, listen, I need you to continue to get on this recruitment trail, and Duffy, whoever that she brings in, I need you to vet them to make sure that they are legit. He's basically also said that we lost a lot of soldiers, we lost a lot of people, but, you know, it's time to rise to the occasion. You know, we got to put that behind us and keep moving forward. As far as Clyde in this episode right here, he is going to be a key figure when it comes to his relationship with Meech, right? Because he's kind of tired of what Remy is doing, right? It's a lot of people, I feel like in this episode, are having second chances like Terry. Terry's always had second chances about doing what he's doing. But this new guy, Clyde, you know, he's having second chances about teaming up with Remy. You know, him and Remy, they've been brothers like from the jump, right? But Remy is so blind with rage for BMF. Like, he even said that it's on site, you know, whenever there's that Little Milton funeral, he said it's on site when it comes to BMF. And Clyde is trying to talk sense into Remy, basically about saying, yo, we may need to partner up with them. And he's like, nah, we'll be in, well, Clyde, what Remy's saying no is we'll be in debt to BMF for the rest of our lives, and we'll be fiends to them, and you know, he ain't trying to hear that. So Clyde is completely upset about it, and he decides to end up talking to little Meech. He runs into Meech at this restaurant. He's like, listen, I don't want to smoke. I just want to get down. And Meech tells him that, you know, I do have the best product that's out here. And, you know, from there, Clyde is like, listen, I've seen a change in Remy, and I don't like what I'm seeing, but I'm willing to join you. I'm willing to get down with you. So him and Meech are about to be working together. And not to mention, you know, Meech has to deal with this HOA lady. You know, she is completely a nuisance, right? She tells Meech that she wants him to keep the grass cut. And like I said, she annoyed me as well. And Meech is like, listen, I got this. You need to worry about those men that keep coming in and out your house every single night. As a matter of fact, change those bed sheets, right? But Meech has even bigger fish to fry because he sent Angel out to figure out what's going on with Greenie. Turns out that Greenie is singing like a bird. He's telling everything, right? He's talking about the murder that happened with Big Mike and how the police are now looking for Meech in other areas. And then Meech's other partners saying, listen, they want me to come testify against you. So Meech is like, listen, you know, and not to me, I forgot Duffy. Duffy got popped by the Red Dog. So, and it seemed like the entire empire down there in Atlanta is about to fall. But what Meech decides to do, he's like, listen, I got to go dark. I got to go up to St. Louis for a minute. I ain't leaving y'all. I'm letting y'all know I'm still going to help y'all get money. We're still going to put weight. Or I meant to say we're still going to move the weight. But he has to go to St. Louis because things are getting too risky for him. And Angel, you know, she's like, I want to go with you. And he tells her, I can't really have you tagging along. I gotta look after myself. But she's like, well, you told me you weren't gonna leave me. And we know how she is, because we kind of feel like she's been abandoned for her whole life, and she really hasn't had a true father figure in her life. I think she kind of looks up to him not only as a lover, but as a potential father figure. And she even tells him, well, if you can be going to St. Louis for a minute, don't get mad at me when I decide to move on. And this part right here was crazy what she said. She's like, yo, I hear that Glock pays pretty well. Now, after everything y'all done been through, after everything you done seen, how in the world are you going to go join forces with Glock? Despite the money, despite the stripper scene, that is crazy, right? But she did her job. You know, she got her the information from the councilman, you know, and Meech took the information, and now, you know, can we trust Angel? Will she go team up and go work with Glock and become an informant of Glock? But we are just going to have to see. Switching gears, I want to talk about Terry. You know, Terry is going through it right now. He is completely stressed out. He has to worry about LaWanda's baby on the way. Henry, he has to take care of his crew. He ends up giving his crew, well, Meech basically gives him some tips, you know, to let him know about loyalty and taking care of your crew, right? And he has to get some more workers basically to help move the product in a different manner. So he get like these young college kids, and you know, he ends up getting them some Detroit Pistons jackets and some tickets. So the crew's already taken care of, right? But Terry still has even more bigger fish to fry. He wants to squash the beef with Henrietta because he ends up having a bad nightmare that Markeisha ends up getting shot, right? And he, you know, he's like, listen, I just want to end all this right here. So he ends up going to Henrietta's spot, like a gambling spot, right? And there we see Diz, right? Now, Diz kind of is playing both sides, right? Even he admits that, he wants to open up a burger joint, and this burger joint making help them move some more weight. But for Diz, it's not going to go like we thought, because Diz is kind of like playing both sides. And yeah, so Terry comes up to Henrietta trying to squash the beef. He says, I'm coming to you man to man, and she's like, you are always going to be second fiddle. You're nothing like your brother. My whole ordeal is to take down BMF at any cost. So we cannot be allies or nothing like that. I got to take y'all down. And that's it. So Terry is now perplexed that she don't even want to squash the beef. So now it's like, dang, what do I do? He ends up talking to Markeisha. Markeisha lets him know that her father, Blaze, is basically above her, and that Henrietta is just a second generation drug dealer herself. Blaze used to be a cop before he went into the drug business himself. So Terry arranges his meeting with Blaze, and they're trying to work it out. But yeah, he tells him, I will see what I can do. And speaking of Blaze, they are at this nice area, very upscale, right? And he talks to Henrietta, and he lets her know that you've been running amok. You've got to cool your jets. You about to blow up the entire thing. And their whole ordeal goes back to him. He admits that, well, I kind of want a boy, but at the same time, I need you to be a lady. I need you to be a great young lady, a lady of influence, Jack and Jill, things of that nature right there, right? But she's like, listen, I'm my own boss. I am who I am at the end of the day. And he tells her to take the deal with Terry. And like any child, young child, she's young and dumb and ain't trying to hear it. So we're going to see what kind of beef happens between her and her father down the road. We got to talk about Brian, right? Brian is officially a rogue, like a rogue agent, right? He's officially his own man. Brian ends up getting fired. So now he can just do what he want to do, right? And Detective Jen ends up getting suspended because she withheld information when it came to Brian. So Brian is now on a rampage. He ends up going to Henrietta. He goes out guns blazing. He is looking for her, but he even pulls out, I think it was a shotgun, right? But before while the shotgun was pulled out, there's other guns around him, including Blaze, right? He tells him, put the gun down, you need to think straight. And Brian is still pissed off about the death of his son. So he ends up basically getting jumped, and they end up dropping him off at the middle of, the middle of the street somewhere. So Officer Bryant, man, he's a free agent. So he can do what he wants to do now. He is about to go rogue. Vengeance is going to be big for him. I don't know what he's going to do, but it's going to be big for him on the rest of BMF. Now let's get ready to talk about Charles, Lucile, and Dr. Maurice and all of that, right? So, wow. So Dr. Maurice has been calling the house, apparently, right? And Charles thought that, after a couple rounds, that him and Lucile, I say rounds, him and Lucile are officially back together, right? But that's not exactly the case. Lucile's also worried in this episode about her daughter. She tells her, Nicole, like, listen, I need you to take these pills, right? These birth control pills, right? And Nicole is listening and, listen, I'm not doing anything. I'm good. You need to be worrying about Dr. Maurice. And Nicole ends up getting snatched up, right? But we find out in this episode that Lucile wants her to take him because Lucile doesn't want Nicole to get caught up the way she got caught up having kids too young. And Nicole pretty much is saying that I've seen the women in my life, right? And I'm making a promise to myself that hopefully I would not get caught up like those women right there. And we see Lucile getting ready to go out on a hot date. Lucile's looking good. And, she even tells Charles, that, yeah, I'm going to a date with Dr. Maurice. And Charles is like, well, at least I appreciate us being honest. But I just want to let you know, whenever you're ready, I'm going to be right here. So she ends up going to this date with Dr. Maurice. And it's a very, very nice place. Very upscale. Very nice place. And they're doing all the small talk. And she just can't believe that, she's actually at an incredible place like this right here. Right? And, he says, there's one thing I've always known you to like, and that was music. You always enjoy dancing. So they're up there dancing. Cool. Having a good time, grooving. He gets a phone call. It's actually Nicole. LaWanda is at the house. LaWanda is actually going into labor. So Dr. Maurice pulls up to the house. And here comes Charles. Charles is absolutely shook to his core that the man who is currently sleeping with his wife is in his home, right? And then here comes Terry. And LaWanda's going off on Terry about him. He's like, I already know where you've been at. You was with that whore, Markeisha. And, Dr. Maurice tells Terry, like, yo, it's going to be okay, son. And Charles is like, listen, he ain't your son. So that whole ordeal right there was absolutely crazy. And Nicole was there watching these babies watching this baby being born, right? It's freaking Nicole out. Nicole ends up running upstairs, and she ends up taking that pill like it's a piece of bubble gum. Now, if you're not doing it, why would you take the pill? So I'm hoping that Nicole isn't doing it. I'm hoping that she is not expecting, but you never know on BMF. As we get closer to the end, Meech ends up trying to tie the knots up with Claude, right? And just give him a rundown of what's been going on with him and how he has to basically go to St. Louis, but tells Claude, don't feel bad, keep doing what you're doing. I'm going to get back with you when I return back from St. Louis. So I did appreciate him, let him know about what is currently at stake when it comes to Meech. And as far as this, that burger joint, it ain't gonna happen, brother, unfortunately. Henrietta's other partner, he notices how Diz kept looking at, I think it was how he kept looking at Terry, right? Something was kind of off. He picked up something in the eyes, right? And we end up seeing Henrietta come out of here with a freaking flamethrower, and she flames this man to his death. She ends up taking the Detroit Piston jacket as well, and that's how the episode concludes. So this chick Henrietta, man, she don't want no peace, y'all. It's no peace with BMF. As always, my two favorite episode scenes. I love the whole situation with Meech, about to go dark. Let them know that I still gonna be with y'all. I'm not leaving y'all, not abandoning y'all. But I'm letting y'all know I gotta do some other stuff, right? And also, love the whole Dr. Maurice, Nicole, Charles scene. That was insane and crazy in itself. So let me know your scenes below. What scenes did you like best in this episode of BMF? And as always, thank you for tuning in to the Lawrence Report.